Hello ladies and mostly gentlemen, I'm Viny and welcome to part 2 on the concrete mixer build. Make sure to go check part 1, but to get you up to speed. In the previous episode, I purchased and cut an old snowblower to end up with 4 separate sides and a cut-to-length auger. I mean, you know, the screw thingy. But I'm still not convinced that starting this mixer project from an old beat-up snowblower was the right move. As long as I don't have to fight with it just to get all the pieces to fit together, nah, I'm sure I'll be fine. But I know I'll get there. Right, first thing I want to tackle is the screw. Previously, I cut both ends off, and now I need to find a way to weld shafts back on. One crucial challenge here is to get these shafts straight and as aligned as possible to each other and not all wobbly. And I cannot just weld shafts and throw the screw in my baby lathe to machine everything straight. Yeah, this thing is way too small for that 5-foot long screw. No, I need to be clever here. But first, let's clean the thing. Ben non, il est pas rouillé pantoute. So the plan is to cut 2 pucks per side. Nothing beats fresh cutted plates to warm your hands. By the way, someone pointed the fact that I built a complete pool heater, but I'm still working in the cold. Listen, the shop is so cold that look what happened the last time I sneezed.
Sorry.
But seriously, I'm thinking about fixing this heating issue soon. Ish. Back on the pucks where I bore them to fit the shaft. And with the pucks machine, it's pretty obvious how this will work. But the fit between the screw and the pucks needs to be spot on. Too loose and it will be all wobbly. And too tight, well, I'm in for a serious press fit nightmare. I also drilled 3/4-inch holes to plug weld the second puck, the one closer to the middle of the screw. And I made 4 holes, all spaced 90 degrees apart. One last little detail, tubes usually have a welding seam inside. It's easier to see on this other pipe, but the seam on the screw is way smaller. But it's there. Easy fix, 2 notches and we're good to go. It doesn't look like much, but once I commit to press fitting the shaft assembly, there's no going back. Especially once I drive the second shaft assembly on the other side, getting it back out would be an absolute nightmare.
I mean, it's a little bit tight.
I'm almost there, but not quite. Like I said, it has to go. Except I made a small mistake. Yeah, the shaft is 3/4 too short. I don't know why, but it's not on the driving side, so making a good plug weld is not as critical as the other side. And all that hammering mushroomed the tip a little bit. As she used to say, big tip, send it. Wait, what? On the other side, it's a bit different, since this one will actually be driving the screw. So I went with a bigger shaft and I machined a keyway for the sprocket.
Snug fit, I like it.
And same process on this side with the pucks, so we'll go over that bit quickly to not bore you to death. The only difference this time, I was banging on a piece of aluminum wrapped around a rag and didn't damage the tip.
Perfect.
Nice.
And this time, oh, I nailed the hole's location with the puck. First try. Last detail, these 1x1 tubes that I capped and welded between the spiral flat bar. I actually had 8 of them, convinced they will greatly help during the concrete mixing. Then I welded everything in place, permanently. On the driven side, I kinda went overkill and filled the whole thing with weld. To my surprise, yeah, not really. It's not only the frame that was beat up, but the spiral flat bar too. In some places, there was almost no gap, and in others, well, it's like throwing a hot dog in a hallway. Oh well, but at least I think both shafts are parallel to each other and to the screw. So, mission accomplished? Question mark? By the way, if you're asking yourself if it's a good idea to follow my footstep and make your own mixer from a snowblower, the answer is no. If you can afford a used one, just buy the damn thing. Mine is custom made to fit my tiny little Massey Ferguson. Because you might think this is a big, beautiful red beast, but that's just a small 25 HP tractor. That too is a 25 HP tractor. Okay, it's not the same breed, but still. So I designed and fabricated a mixer to fit my needs and my puny little tractor and to, well, let's be honest, create content. Right, back on the frame where apparently I didn't cut the sides perfectly square. But as you know, we're always just a grinder away from success. The next challenge is going to be making that curved bottom to keep the gap with the screw as small as possible. To do that, I first cut a side section and tried to bend the plate into a more rounded shape. Bending this plate by hand, that ain't gonna happen, even though I tried real hard. And it doesn't even fit my press brake.
Yay. See boy.
Even if it means more welding down the line, I nudge the plate and use the welding table to bend it. With the bending done, it was time to couple the first pieces together. The name of the game here is stitching, making sure everything lines up just right. Okay, it's not perfect. No, that's bad. And of course, the bottom side was pretty bent. But with a few hammer swings, some swearing, and a couple of clamps, I managed to get it pretty straight. Still on my quest to get the curviest bottom, for the mixer, I plasma cut, bent, and welded a few plates. And of course, let's not forget a few more hammer swings. For the other two sides, same recipe. Cut the edge perpendicular to the base, add the curved plates, and boom, we're done. We could swing the screw in place and check how everything fits. Look, Mom, I inverted one of the clamps and used it to set the screw height.
I am too smart! I am too smart!
I figure before fixing the final screw height, I should extend the sidewalls and see how everything fits. But I must be out of the woods with messing with old twisted metal, right? Tabarnak. Okay, another beaded flat session, but I'm getting pretty good at it.
Many hours later.
Looking good.
On this side, I made a mistake. I didn't recut the old snowblower section to create a straight edge before welding this new panel. I did use some leftover thick filler rod as filler rods, but why not bubble? And of course, with such a gap, I welded the thing to the table. Good job, Viny. Oh, here I'm welding the tiniest cutting edge possible for weight reduction. Not gonna lie, I won't be using this bucket much to scoop sand and gravel. Then I cut one template jig to guide me on how to cut the final sidings. And the plasma didn't cut through. Then I cut a second template jig. The gap is way too big. Then I cut a third template jig, which, well, it's good enough for what I need it for. Once everything was set at the right angle, I prepped the plasma table and cut the two sidings out of the 1/4 inch plate. For the last extension, I definitely learned my lesson and made a straight cut before joining it to the final panel. And you guessed it, the bottom section wasn't perfectly flat, so I had to get creative to force it into place.
Les amis, jamais essayé de faire un mixeur avec une souffleuse parce que c'est une hostie d'idée de marde.
Let's build a sliding door, which unfortunately is located at the intersection where all 4 pieces are welded. No way, Jose, this thing is flat enough for a sliding door. Give me a second, I'll try showing you from the top.
J'ai failli me péter la gueule solide, moi.
Seriously, that one scared me. I was falling backwards towards a big pile of metal. All because I stepped on my swivel chair arm. Good job, Viny. Maybe I can show you what really happened using my security camera. You motherfucker. That's why I've got this. It's the brand new Real-Link TrackFlex Floodlight Wi-Fi security camera. This thing is a true 2-in-1 unit. Obviously, it's a security camera, but it's also a powerful floodlight for your everyday needs. This beauty comes with 2 lenses, one wide-angle lens shooting in 4K, and the second one with 6x hybrid zoom. Now combine that with the up and down movement and the rotating base, and this thing automatically tracks the action. And we're not just talking about a basic 180 coverage. Nah, too easy. What about 270? And here are the floodlights. You can set them to stay all night long or switch them to motion detection mode, so they turn on when you arrive home or if someone is sneaking around your house. I've been playing with the security camera app for a few weeks now, and I have to say, this menu couldn't be more complete or better designed. You can change and set, well, pretty much everything, from light color to detection sensitivity to alarm schedules, push notifications, and even email alerts. I really mean it. Everything is customizable in the app to fit your specific needs. And a classic feature on a security camera is the playback. What is far from classic is their incredible AI video search. With this, we're done scrolling through hours of footage. Let's say I want to find a specific event, like a car arriving in a driveway, which I just type into the search box. And boom, first video, yeah, that's me arriving yesterday evening. Okay, let's do a tricky one. I've been working around the house with a ladder lately, so we'll just do ladder. Nice. Okay, let's check this one. Yep, that's me carrying a ladder. Okay, let's push it even more. What about a red shovel? Yeah, that's a red shovel. Can I get a blue one? Wow. Real-Link, once again, bravo. With Real-Link, you're not just getting great cameras, but also a smart, well-thought-out app and software. And that's something important to consider when choosing a security system manufacturer. If you're interested in the new Real-Link TrackFlex Floodlight Wi-Fi security camera, click the link below or scan the QR code. And once again, thank you Real-Link for sponsoring this concrete mixer series. Back on the sliding door, where I cutted this plate to create a flat base, and this door that will slide in and out, closing and opening the mixer bottom chute. Viny, it's backward. Yeah, that's more like it. Now using some pre-drilled flat bars, I needed to create that mechanism that is tight enough to slide, but not too much that concrete juice will drip through it. I used 15 thou shims to create the smallest gap possible. Due to welding, the thing warped a bit, so after some fiddling, the sliding motion was good enough for me. Then I welded the subassembly without caring too much about the flatness of the mixer itself. To align it with the other side, I pre-drilled 4 holes right on the edge of the 4 hatted blue curved plates. 3 of them line up pretty well, and let's just ignore this one. Once the subassembly was welded, I used it as a cutting template. And I capped the inside with what I can only describe as the best looking welds on the internet, like ever. Okay, here's the biggest flaw of my design. How to put this? Well, remember the time when your dog Poochie died and your mom went straight to the point like, Poochie's dead, sweetie. Well, I'll do the same here, and here it goes. Once finished, the screw will be trapped in the mixer's frame for, like, ever. Not serviceable, not removable. Yeah, I know, not the smartest. But I'll be able to service the bearings or the chain or to add grease, but yeah, not the screw. So feel free to leave any insult in the comments, because anyway good or bad comments are pretty good to feed the algorithm and help me promote this video. So, thank you. Back on the bill, where now I need to make truss bushings to take the side loads. I don't know how much force there will be, but I don't want the bearings handling that load. For the bushings, I'll use, for the US, aluminum, and for the rest of the world, aluminium. These will go snug on the shaft, creating a tight seal, and with
je cognais le pouce, tabarnak. That hurts.
I know it doesn't look like much, but as I'm editing this a month later, it still hurts.
Beke bobo.
So yeah, tight seal on the screw side and an O-ring on the frame side.
Ooh, perfect.
Contrary to diamonds, aluminum is not forever, so to extend the bushing's life, I added a Zerg fitting through the bearings housing. And by pumping grease through it and through the frame's rubbing plate, it will feed grease directly on the bushing side, lubricating both rubbing surfaces and, hopefully, extend the bushing's life. And thanks to the O-ring, it should keep the concrete and the grease from mixing up. That's the theory anyway, but we'll see how it works in real life. And with rubbing plates placed on both sides, I slid the screw in its slot for the last time. Except I think I went overkill with how tight everything is, and it's very difficult to turn the screw. Yeah, the O-ring is probably protruding a bit too much. After machining the O-ring pocket a little bit deeper, I slid the screw in its slot for the last time. Better, but still too tight. And here you can see how everything is assembled with the bearing, the rubbing plate, and the bushing. So after machining the bushings width down a bit, I slid the screw in its slot for the last time.
There we go.
And yeah, my OCD was trying to convince me to pull the screw out for a fourth time. But compared to the original footage, it's way better. Like the final nail in the coffin, I welded the two side plates, permanently sealing the screw inside the frame for eternity. Okay, Viny, maybe dial back a bit the drama here. We're almost done here, but I just need to make a few cuts, and by a few, I mean a lot of cuts.
Whew, you did that.
And with a few more holes, I prepped all the parts needed to create the SSQA attachment. I designed it so the top flat bar of the SSQA will take care of this curve in the backplate. And with that side straightened and reinforced, I added a middle stiffener to remove the curvature on the cutting edge side. After adding a few flat bars at the back, I used the tractor itself as a template to complete the skid steer quick attach. But the mixer was not going all the way in, so I used the tower from the welding table to counterbalance it, and yoink! And of course some tappy tap tap for good measure. I've gotta say, it's pretty proportional with the little Massey, even though this thing is a massive bucket. Yep, I love it. To make those bottom locking pieces, I used leftovers from the snowblower, and I made sure to keep this square pattern created by the snowblower's drive shaft, just like a little fossil for future generations. By the way, I have a full series on how I rebuilt this little Massey Ferguson, and one dedicated video on how I built the SSQA, linked below. For the power plant, I'm using a 15.4 cubic inch hydraulic motor. I selected this one by calculating the tractor's hydraulic pump flow and factoring in a 3:1 sprocket ratio, which gives a final screw speed of about 20 RPM. Hopefully my math adds up. I guess we're about to find out in just a few minutes.
Just like that.
We're getting closer to the test run, and to get there, I'm reusing the original auger sprocket from the old snowblower. It's far from new, but it's still in decent shape. After tapping new holes in my milling vise to fixture the sprocket, I bore a larger center hole so I could add a hub. I finished the bore using a boring head and matched that diameter to the new hub I machined in the lathe. After adding a big weight reduction chamfer, I tacked the two pieces together before broaching a keyway, which I had to do at my job. I know, I definitely need to get one of those broaching kits for myself. Since the system needs to run in both directions, I opted for a jack screw for chain tensioning, instead of a more traditional idler sprocket. For the dry sprocket, I bought a sprocket plate with the correct number of teeth and a hub with the proper bore to fit the motor, then welded them together.
Whew, it ain't pretty, but yeah, that's gonna be solid.
And I completed the assembly with a heavy-duty number 60 chain. For the sliding door, I picked up this 1.5" by 8" cylinder. I'm almost there. I just need to install the valves, along with all the fittings and hoses needed to power the motor and the sliding door. But
Sérieux? Doesn't look like orange bus to me.
I actually did my homework on this one and checked the manual, and the valves are supposed to be O-ring bus, but nope.
Looks like NPT.
So the fittings I bought won't fit. It is National Pipe Thread, which for hydraulic systems, it's my least favorite. I find them more prone to leaks than GIC or O-ring bus.
Fudge you.
Right, so none of these fittings are the right type. Lovely.
Early the next morning.
And with that last connection done, I hooked up the mixer to the tractor for the first time.
Here, go, nothing.
And it works! I counted the number of rotations over a set period of time and came up with a speed of 22 RPM, close to the 20 targeted. Not bad! But if it turns out to be too slow, I can simply swap the drive sprocket for a bigger one. Easy peasy. And the sliding door is smooth as butter. So far, I'm really loving this project, but we're far from done. So please consider subscribing to see the next episode, where I'll be completing the mixer with a ton of cool features you'll never seen on a mixer before, and of course, doing the first real test run.